Muhammad Iqbal was a teacher. His world was small but full of meaning. In the town of Poonch, nestled in the hills of Indian-administered Kashmir, he taught young minds. At the Zia-ul-Ulum Madrasa, he was known as Qari Muhammad Iqbal, a respected man, a quiet man. He was 47 years old. His life was dedicated to his students, his faith, and his family. He belonged to the Gujar community, his roots deep in the soil of Poonch, where his family had lived for generations. He had studied in Gujarat, then returned in 2004, called back to serve his own people, to share the knowledge he had gained. This was his calling, his peaceful existence. Then came the 7th of May, 2025. The air itself seemed to hold its breath, heavy with an unspoken dread. Suddenly the sky split open, shells began to fall. It was a day that would forever be seared into the memory of Poonch. Cross-border fire, a terrifying familiar sound in this troubled region. Panic erupted, children screamed. In the chaos, Iqbal thought only of the young ones. He moved to shield them, to guide them from the rain of death. He was trying to protect them when the shrapnel found him. A life of quiet devotion ended in a moment of selfless courage. He was no fighter, no militant. He was a teacher trying to save his pupils. The news of his death spread through Poonch like a cold wave. A good man was gone. A respected figure known for his gentle ways was lost to the senseless violence of the border. His family, his 2 wives, one named Nasimat, and his 8 children, were plunged into unimaginable grief. He was their rock, their sole provider. The community mourned with them, sharing their sorrow. In those first raw hours of loss, their pain was pure, unadulterated by the ugliness that was yet to come. They prepared for his last rites, a community united in grief for one of their own. The shells had taken a father, a husband, a teacher, but far away in noisy television studios, a different story was being concocted. As Iqbal's loved ones wept, the machinery of misinformation began to whir. Certain Indian media channels, hungry for sensational headlines in the tense atmosphere of Operation Sindoor and the ongoing India-Pakistan military escalation, started to broadcast their own twisted version of events. They did not know Iqbal, they did not know Poonch. Yet, they were about to defile his name, to add a monstrous lie to his family's unbearable burden. The true horror for Iqbal's memory was only just beginning to unfold across the airwaves, reaching homes across the nation. The assault on Muhammad Iqbal's character was swift and brutal. Prominent Indian media outlets, including Zee News, ABP, and News 18, along with its affiliates CNN, News 18, and News 18 India, led the charge. They did not whisper doubts, they shouted accusations. Iqbal, the gentle teacher, was labeled a terrorist, a wanted terrorist, a Lashkar commander. These channels claimed he had been killed by India, not as a civilian casualty of shelling, but as an enemy combatant eliminated in Pakistan-administered Kashmir. Zee News even displayed a gruesome, bloodied photograph of Iqbal, a final indignity, presenting him as a vanquished foe. The news spread like wildfire, a stain on his name. What was the basis for such grave, life-altering accusations? It seemed his very appearance was used against him. His beard, his skull cap, these markers of his religious identity were twisted by some into supposed proof of militancy. This superficial judgment fueled the false narrative. CNN News 18 and News 18. India went further, attempting to link him to heinous terror activities, even the 2019 Pulwama attack, with no evidence to support these vile claims. It was a shocking display of journalistic malpractice, a trial by television where the verdict was declared before any facts were checked. The context was a 4-day military conflict, but Iqbal was its first civilian casualty on the Indian side. Mercifully, a voice of reason tried to cut through the cacophony of lies. On May 8th, the day after Iqbal's tragic death and the immediate start of the media slander, the Poonch police issued a clear, unequivocal statement. They officially refuted all claims that Iqbal was a terrorist. They affirmed his status as a respected religious figure within the community. Crucially, they stated he had no affiliations with any terror groups. The police also warned that legal action would be taken against those spreading such damaging misinformation. It was a vital intervention, an attempt to reclaim Iqbal's dignity from the mud being slung by powerful media houses. Despite the police clarification, the media's response was shamefully slow and inadequate. Only News 18 offered a public apology on its Hindi channel, terming the egregious error a human mistake, a mistake that had branded an innocent dead man a terrorist. Other channels like CNN News 18 only took down or made private their defamatory videos by May 14th, a full 6 days after their broadcasts, and long after the police statement. ABP's Marathi channel, as of that date, had reportedly not removed its false video at all. Z News and ABP, according to the BBC, did not even respond to requests for comment. The damage was profound, the poison of their words already seeped deep. For Muhammad Iqbal's family, the pain was almost beyond words. His brother Farooq Ahmed, also a Qari, spoke of the deep anger and distress that consumed them. They were already grappling with the sudden, violent loss of a beloved brother, husband and father. As they were absorbed in the somber rituals of his last rites, trying to make sense of their tragedy, they were shielded for a short while from the media's grotesque caricature. Then, a WhatsApp video reached them. The terrible news of how Iqbal was being portrayed struck them like a second, more insidious blow. Their grief was now compounded by a burning sense of injustice. Iqbal was not just a spiritual guide, he was the pillar of his household. He was the sole breadwinner for his large family, which included his 2 wives and their 8 young children. Their future, already precarious with his passing, now looked even bleaker. The government provided some compensation, a few million rupees, as is often the case in such tragedies. But this sum, however welcome, could hardly sustain a family of 10 for the long years ahead. It could not mend their broken hearts, nor could it erase the stain on Iqbal's name. Their focus, Farooq Ahmed explained, had to shift from purely mourning to the stark reality of survival, overshadowed by this cruel defamation. The false reports ignited a wave of anger and fear throughout Poonch. Local residents and reporters who knew Iqbal and the truth of his life were appalled. How could these national news channels so far removed be so wrong, so reckless? Trust in the media, already fragile in conflict-ridden areas, plummeted further. The incident strained communal harmony, as people saw how easily a respected member of their community could be vilified based on prejudice and misinformation. The local BJP National Executive member, Ravinder Raina, visited the family to offer condolences, but when questioned by local media about accountability for the channels, his response was reportedly vague, offering little solace. This was not merely an isolated error, it was part of a much larger, disturbing pattern. Manisha Pandey, from the media watchdog News Laundry, described the coverage surrounding the recent Indo-Pak escalation as a disinformation war. Social media and television channels were awash with fabricated stories, tales of India destroying Pakistan's Karachi port, AI-generated videos showing exaggerated Pakistani military losses. Pandey criticized the sensationalist, jingoistic, and utterly irresponsible nature of much of this media coverage. She noted that the scale of misinformation during this period was unprecedented, with Iqbal's case being a particularly egregious example of its devastating human cost. In the aftermath of such profound character assassination, Muhammad Iqbal's family contemplated their options. The thought of pursuing legal action against the powerful media channels that had slandered him was undoubtedly present. A desire for justice, for a formal acknowledgement of the immense wrong done to Iqbal's memory, burned within them. However, the harsh realities of their situation were pressing. As Farooq Ahmed indicated, their immediate and overwhelming concern was survival. The financial struggles, the need to care for Iqbal's 8 children, made the prospect of a lengthy, expensive legal battle a daunting one. Justice often requires resources they simply did not have. The enduring question now is how Muhammad Iqbal will be remembered. Will it be as the dedicated teacher, the loving father, the respected community man he truly was? Or will the shadow of the media's false terrorist label continue to cling to his name in the wider public consciousness? The fight to reclaim his dignity is an uphill battle. Once a lie is unleashed with such force, broadcast into millions of homes, it takes on a life of its own. It is incredibly difficult to entirely erase its pernicious imprint, no matter how thoroughly it is debunked. The scars left by such falsehoods are deep and long-lasting. This tragic episode involving Muhammad Iqbal serves as a stark and painful reminder of the immense power wielded by the media. It also highlights the devastating consequences when that power is abused, whether through negligence, malice, or jingoistic fervor. The responsibility that rests on journalists and news organizations, especially when reporting on sensitive situations like cross-border conflicts, cannot be overstated. The need for rigorous fact-checking, for ethical considerations, for basic human decency, is paramount. When these principles are abandoned, innocent lives and reputations are shattered, and the very fabric of public trust is torn. As we reflect on this incident, today on May 26, 2025, the wounds are still fresh for Iqbal's family and his community in Poonch. Mohammed Iqbal's life was one of quiet service, tragically cut short. The false narrative spun around his death was a profound injustice, a second killing of sorts. While truth may be slow to emerge from the murky depths of misinformation, its light is persistent. The story of Mohammed Iqbal is a testament to the human cost of lies, and a powerful call for a media that values truth above sensationalism and humanity above all. His memory deserves nothing less than the unvarnished truth.